guys, welcome back to my project management sandbox. Yay, this is Chris and we talk here about managing projects, career in tech and professional growth. So, as you know, products are built by people and for people. This means that people is a core component in all this environment, which might be really challenging because you need to get things done with the help of other people, right? But how can you get things done using the force of others? I would say by motivating them, by giving direction, and by leading people. This is what leaders do. So how can you do this? By providing feedback. And this is what we are going to talk today about. How to provide the feedback in the best efficient way using the STAR method. Feedback is always a gift, no matter whether this is a positive or negative. I would also mention that negative feedback is even better because only this type of feedback gives you an ability to grow further. And in this episode, we are going to talk about how to give feedback to others in a best and efficient way, right? If you want to know on how to accept feedback professionally, let me know in comments. And before we start, don't forget to give this video a like because this is the only way today on how can you support this channel. So give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell not to miss something important and valuable from the career growth perspective moving forward, because I'm posting a lot of videos on the career topics, on professional growth, on managing projects topics. So make sure to subscribe, tip the bell, and let's move on. And giving feedback, especially negative feedback, could be challenging as you may offend a person and you definitely do not want this, right? As a leader, you want to motivate a person, you want the person to grow, you want the person to deliver a result. So how to give a feedback in not to offend someone and to turn it into something productive. Let's not consider the situation when someone is yelling or using curse words. I'm sure you're not like this. Let's consider a professional situation, how to get prepared, how to use the STAR method on providing feedback, and how to finally get the result. So let's get started. I'm going to break it down into the 5 steps. Actually, there are 6, but the very first step I have marked as 0 because this is the very basic which you have to do before even getting started. So, before starting giving feedback. So let's start with the step number 0. Get prepared. And make sure to put the necessary information together and to be objective, because we are not discussing the person himself, so he or her is not a subject of this discussion. The subject of the discussion is the behavior or the current results. So let's focus on them and let's be objective while providing feedback. So get prepared, come up with the examples, and before you start giving feedback, make sure that you have built or prepared a safe environment for the person to accept the feedback. The best way to do this is to deliver feedback in a conversational way. So this should be two-way conversation. You are not just throwing your feedback and leaving away, right? You want the person to acknowledge it and you want the person to take action. So this should be a conversation of 2 humans. And be sure to enable your active listening skills. AKA, you are not only hearing what the person is saying, but you understand it and you show that you have heard what the person told you. So here is an example. Hey there, thank you for joining this meeting. I wanted to find out how are you doing and if everything is okay. Recently I noticed there are some changes in your performance and it would be nice to discuss it. But before we start, tell me please if I can help you with anything and if there is something that you feel I could improve in my approach. So you show the person that you see that something is wrong and this is not common to this person. This means that you understand that potentially there are some challenges or obstacles that are preventing the person from the better performance. And not only this, you are open to the conversation and you need to find out and you want to find out if there is anything you could be helpful to improve it too. So listen attentively what the person responds and show that you have heard the context. Okay, I hear you. You say you have challenges in attending early morning calls. Do you think there are any options that we could use to improve the situation? So let's get to the STAR method. I have also broke down it in this episode on describing what the STAR method is and how it's used in interviews. So let me quickly remind about it to you here so that you get a context. But if you would like to get in-depth information about the STAR method, make sure to check this episode. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. And now let's talk about how this could be applicable in providing feedback. So let's start from situation. Again, just a reminder, we are not doing finger pointing, we are giving the context about the situation, about the behavior, about the circumstances, not about the person himself. So let's use the STAR in providing feedback. S, situation. Give a context about the situation and what have made you to come up with the feedback. Here is an example. I have noticed that you are constantly late on morning stand-up calls. For example, last week you have been late for 3 of them and you have missed the one on Friday. As you know, this is a ceremony for the whole team and it is important that everyone is attending the meeting without being late. Firstly, because this impacts everyone else in the team from the timing perspective. Secondly, if someone is not present, other teammates are not able to connect with this person timely to ask for help or to offer help that might be needed. And not only this, other teammates might be working on something that is interdependent with your task and they need to know what's the current progress. So we have described what the situation is about. Now let's talk about the task. So we need to set the expectation versus not only focusing on the bad side, but on how this situation could be improved. Everyone is expected to be on the daily stand-ups on time and should not miss the meetings. Do you think this is something you can do, or there is any blocker that prevents you from visiting calls? So again, time to enable your active listening skills. We have asked the question, and this means we need to hear the response. We need to understand the reason, and we need to find what could be the appropriate actions on how to resolve this problem. And don't forget you're a leader, so this means that you want the person to be motivated, you want the person to gain help from you, you want the person to succeed in his task or her task, and this means that it would also demand some activity, impact, and participation from your side. So we need to find out how can you be helpful and how the person sees the situation to be resolved. So getting back to our example, potentially the response from the person could be, when the daily stand-up happens, he's bringing his kids to the school. So that is the reason why he's constantly late on calls, because he simply doesn't have enough time to get back home and to join the meetings when they start. So when you have communicated the situation, when you highlighted what the task is, and when you have discussed what could be the action, you need to set up the expected result. So in our case, the expected result would be not to miss the daily calls, but as you understand, we found out there is an obstacle that's preventing the person visiting those calls. So as a result of our feedback call, we need to set up the action items that could help us to achieve the result that we are heading for. So the result is not to miss the meeting. So what's going to be the action items here? Okay, I get it. Thank you for letting me know, and sorry we didn't have a chance to sync on that sooner. So let's do it this way. First, let me sync with the rest of the team to find out if they are okay to change the time of the call so that you could attend it when you are available. Meanwhile, second, if you are going to be late or not present on the calls, please let me know in advance so that we know we do not need to wait for you this day. And third, if this is the case and you are not going to attend the call, please send an update about your progress in the group chat in advance so that everyone in the team could have access to this information to find out if there are any dependencies on your tasks. And the final fifth step in providing feedback is to share the records of what you have agreed on, right? So we have described the situation, we have found out the reason, we have found out the action items on how to improve it, and we know what is the anticipated results. Now we need to make a record of what you have discussed so that you are on the same page and you know what's the goal you are working towards together. Let's meet in 2 days to find out where we're currently at, and if there will be any chance to reschedule daily calls sooner, I will do it as soon as possible. I hope this was helpful, so let me know in comments if you are going to use the STAR method in providing feedback. And not only this, let me know in comments if you would like to learn on how to conduct face-to-face or one-on-one calls in general. Thanks for watching till the end, don't forget to give me a like, and see you soon.